This is going to be episode 1. It's not BC. And the other one that just came out was episode 4. So just like Star Wars, for my generation, we thought Star Wars was number 1. 20, 30 years later, we find out it's really number 4. But that's the way this plays out. It was intentional when I released it to put number 4 and not BC. BC is before Catamaran. And what we went through to see if we really liked the lifestyle or what it was about. You know, we're still learning and getting into it. This episode will be a little bit of a pickup of actually before Catamaran, how it came to be that we ended up with one, the process, where we got it, where we went. So between 1, 2, and 3, we'll go through that and probably throw some current stuff in. Ella has decided that she would like to finish school in person and not to do online. She wants to go to a physical school. And Laura and I have decided that, okay, fine. We don't have a problem with that. It's a couple more years. We still have the boat. What we've decided to do, instead of trying to live on this boat that actually does need some work, we got to modify and fix and change some things for us to be more comfortable. We have purchased a house that is on a canal. That house needs a dock. I'm going to meet the guy or a guy that will give me a price to put the dock in. It's not something I know how to do. I kind of get the idea, and I'm sure there's a bunch of specialty type things like pole driving stuff and piers and all that stuff that needs to be done that if you know me, I like to do everything. I try to do it all myself. This is one thing I'm not going to try to do myself. But this may seem crazy. We've done a little bit of research, but it's possible that the canal isn't even deep enough. No one could answer the question whether or not it was deep enough. There's a sailboat across the way, a monohull that's across the way from us, that the draft is deeper than this. I'm going to assume most sailboats have deep keels, I've learned. And there were some other, in Google photos, other boats and other canals that are in the neighborhood that are deep. So I will take you along for that. I will do the probably some drone footage, which maybe I'm showing right now, of the house and the canal and the area. And we'll call that home for a little bit.
We are the revelry, we are the dreamers. We dance through the night in a bones we can feel it. Aiming for the stars against the sky. When we are together, we are bright. We'll light up. We've been waiting for this moment to come. We were made for this adventure. We feel it in our blood. We'll light up.
So in this episode, I'm going to wrap up what we did in Croatia and Italy. Once we got on the catamaran and did all that, the way we left off 3 was the next thing we were doing is getting off and going off the catamaran in Croatia and going over to Italy and sightseeing in Rome, Florence, and Venice. Part of our dream about doing this whole thing is not necessarily we want to be sailors and all this stuff, even though we do, Laura and I do absolutely love the water, our kids love the water, is more the mode of transportation, taking your house with you, in essence RVing, but on the ocean. So this part will be what we would dream of doing. Say we were sailing in the Mediterranean and we were in Croatia with our own boat, we would eventually head over to Italy and go do what we did. So we get off the catamaran, the Lagoon 45 in Croatia. We fly over to Rome. We hang out in Rome, go see one of probably my top 5 things I've ever wanted to do in the world was to go see the Colosseum. and all of the ancient artifact, ruined city stuff in Rome. Emma's a little bit of a history nerd. She loves that stuff too. Ella, she could care less, at least at this point. Super amazing. I had a great time. I'm not going to give you a history lesson on all of it. I'll throw some footage up as I'm talking. Amazing. I absolutely loved the whole thing. I had a great time with Emma. Laura loved it. We were just looking at each other going, look at that, and look at this, and just the history. Just like everybody, you walk into some place and you just, if the walls could talk, and what they've seen. So we got an Airbnb everywhere. That allowed us not to be in a hotel, in a hotel room. The house that we were in Rome was some Duke's or something. It was supposed to be big and fancy. It was really weird. I had felt like a bunch of add-ons, that type of stuff. We wanted to get immersed in the culture and go to local places. And one of the ways to do it for us was to Airbnb everywhere we went. Then we never been on a high-speed train. These trains were super cool and super fast. And we went from Rome to Florence. Florence was a surprise. I didn't research a whole lot about what Florence was about. Florence was amazing. In fact, we spent 2 days in Rome, and we spent two days total maybe in Florence, or maybe we spent 3 days in Rome. But we all agreed that Florence was probably our favorite. The city was beautiful. It was clean. There wasn't graffiti all over the place like in Rome. Everything was graffitied. And the churches, the people, the food, the shops, super amazing. I can't say it enough. It was amazing, and I hope you'll see, or at least agree with me, that I took some beautiful photos and video. I hope it conveys on the screen.
On the walls, only
Yeah.
on the garage door. Wow, look at those doors, son.
Because it's the solution that keeps the color separate.
The algae.
The algae, yeah. It's the density of the solution. Yellow for some days. That's it. Something more. Orange, light orange.
Yes. Suitcase orange. It is.
I do you even purple? Not this one.
Oh yeah, there you go, Ella. Suitcase.
Okay.
Oh.
Maybe even the deep blue to give some contrast between bright colors. It's white. Then what did you like? Lemon, strawberry, pistachio.
Dude, dark
The
red.
gelato ice cream. Well, what else? This lime.
Red.
Which one?
Red.
Red. Why not? This one? Oh, this one.
That one.
No.
Okay, now I created a typical model pattern, but starting from this design that I can transfer my weight on the paper, I could even work on change the full texture.
Oh yeah.
Now it's nice, but it could be nicer.
Oh, cool. Oh. That's super cool.
That's super cool. But it could be even nicer. Alright, action again. Well, you know, this is the very important part to develop the Fort Lauderdale Center.
Very beautiful.
Coda di Pavone.
Yes, I was thinking it looked like a peacock.
Oh yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Alright, nice. Good shot. Ready for the
Oh,
magic?
here we go. Here it is. Drum roll.
Steady. Go. Action. Voila. Now we're going to start with say very important to complete the word. Abracadabra. Magic component. Open it up. That's it. Ready to the magic? Action. Uh-oh, right.
Wow.
Go. Here.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's it.
Amazing.
Wow, that's
so
super cool.
That's amazing.
That is really fantastic.
So one by one, they're all different.
We went to Venice. Venice was cool. It was more than I thought. Would have liked to have spent more time in Florence, but at the same time, if we go back, I'll probably spend as much time in Venice as we did in Florence. Just to there, I felt like I was missing something. It was super cool and beautiful, but super packed. It'd be cool to go there off season and see what that was all about. It just was very, very touristy, which is, you know, I understand. We're gonna experience that, but it'd be interesting to experience it in not those conditions. Then we flew home. So once we arrived home, we had this feeling that catamaran prices were just through the roof. We kind of just said we'll wait for a while to look harder. At some point, we decided that we needed to go on a trip, and we went to the Bahamas. Oh, well, we stayed at Atlantis. While we were there, a catamaran popped up that we had looked at quite a while ago. One that really kind of in that time frame got us started looking and thinking that this was doable, but it was still out of our price range. At this point, this catamaran now, a year and a half later, was a decent amount off, but still needed to be more because we couldn't afford it. I called the broker. I think I started off probably kind of rude because it just, for one, don't know the industry that well. I don't understand how it works. I've done a lot of research, but did not know how the process worked. I started the conversation off with, okay, I know there's got to be something wrong with this. This has been on the market for a really long time. Then it was off. Now it's back on. Just don't give me a song and dance and tell me what the story is. He did. Ultimately, in the end, we offered a substantially less price for it. This happened to be, I think the last day we were in the Bahamas when we weren't even really thinking about getting a catamaran or buying anything or even looking. The offer, we countered back and forth. Ultimately, before we went much further, I wanted to see it in person before we finalized the deal. So we flew home from the Bahamas. I don't think I was home for a day, and then I ended up flying to Fort Lauderdale and looking at CATATONIC was the boat's name. Yeah, liked it. There were a lot of things wrong with it. Every single hatch leaked. The freezers didn't work. Air conditionings didn't work. It had a survey, and so I was able to actually get a hold of the survey. Ultimately, I think it had 1 or 2 surveys before we looked at it in a recent time frame, and those people passed because it needed so much stuff. This didn't work, that didn't work. Everything was leaking, was staining stuff. There was mold. There was a ton of recommendations. It was stated that the engines were tired and needed to be replaced. The generator didn't work. So many things. Dishwasher didn't work. A ton. But the price ultimately ended up being right, and in fact, in the end, we ended up getting a $10,000, I don't know if you'd call it a kickback or whatever. It was to replace all the hatches because they couldn't find anybody to fix them, which was perfectly fine with me. I'd rather replace them and do it myself than have some schmo dude that doesn't know what he's doing and get used ones. And ultimately, in the end, I learned a lot, and it was better that they were all replaced because they were junk. So that's where we're at. Ultimately, we loved it, dug it, wanted it, and bought it. In the story of picking it up from Fort Lauderdale and bringing it around to Port Tarpon, which is just north of Tampa Bay, Hurricane Idalia hit. And I've been through a hurricane once in Mexico with my wife and my parents. That's a funny story. But I never had been on a boat. Didn't know what that was all about, and was in a mandatory evacuation zone, which I defied and hung out on the boat as long as I could because I just wanted to protect this thing, our dream that we've had for a long time. And so that gets you to episode 1, and then get us to episode 2 in the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're interested in helping us with this production. This takes time. I've had to learn to video edit. We have some patrons over there that help us financially continue to do this. Jump over to Patreon. There's a link in the description, and help support us with these productions.
They definitely do. Come on. Come to the camera.
Ready for your close-up, Mr. Bill?
Yeah. There's Panda. Okay.